Good morning. I want to welcome you to Lubbock to your new residency. My name is Mike Reagan, and I'm the Chief Medical Officer at University Medical Center. I'm also a faculty member in family medicine at Texas Tech. We're so glad that you're here and look forward to working with you over your coming residency. I'm here to help you, and if you have anything that you need, don't hesitate to contact me. I want to tell you a little bit about my role at UMC and how it relates to you. Uh, my job is partly to ensure the quality and safety of the practice at University Medical Center. And you guys working in the trenches are a key part of that practice. One of my other roles is to help liaison and work with medical staff, of which you are now a member. And I want to make sure that your practice is as good as it can be and as easy as it can be. And so as we go through, I'll point out areas where you can interface and let me know if there are opportunities there. The first thing I want to talk a little bit about is our UMC strategic plan. Uh, this is a new plan this year, and it is a 5-year plan. We set goals to try and reach, and we have an ideal state that we want to arrive at in 2025. I want to focus on the safety and quality pillar and describe our efforts in this front to become a high reliability organization. One way that we do that is to try and drive variation out of practice to do a standardized practice in the best way for every patient every time. And I'll give you an example that's tangible so you can understand what I'm saying. Think about placing a central line on a patient. We need to find the best way to put that central line in as safely as we can with the lowest risk of complications. And the chief complication is infection. And both the medical staff and the nursing staff have a role there. The medical staff needs to ensure that the line is put in clean conditions, sterile conditions, and that nursing staff needs to ensure that the care ongoing is done in a clean and sterile way as they access the line. There's the very best way to do those practices, and we want to ensure that we do them every time the same way. That's the standardization piece. I want to also talk about the teamwork pillar. Our goal is to have our medical staff be heard and valued in a continual and purposeful way. And so, as I mentioned, your practice tells us what's going on in the trenches, and we need to hear from you about the things we can do better on and the ways that we can improve our corporate practice. One of the very important cultural aspects of UMC is the service is our passion culture. I want to tell you a little bit about the history of service is our passion. About 15 to 20 years ago, UMC was more of a typical county hospital with lower patient satisfaction scores, and the leadership at the time did not accept that as adequate, did not want to maintain the status quo. And so they began a campaign to try and hire people into the organization who were committed to providing high-level service and top-level quality to patients. And that was a long journey, but over the last several years, we have achieved very high performance on service. In fact, we've been recognized as one of the top teaching hospitals in the country several years running. Not an easy task, but it's a very fruitful task. We have been successful, and consequently, patients choose to come to UMC that don't have to come to UMC. So we're very proud of the efforts there. And every employee at UMC can tell you about service is our passion, or SIOP. One of the ways that we cultivate that culture is through stories. And so we have videos about patient encounters, and I'm going to share one that highlights some of the key principles of service is our passion. You'll hear the story unfold talking about nursing and medical staff helping the patient deal with a very stressful and scary period in their life. there's a point in which the doctor manages up other employees. So they're telling the patient that they're going to experience some very good things, and that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so we encourage you to use manage up. So without further ado, I'm going to let you hear.
I'm James Shanklin, and this is my story. I woke up a morning, and it was the day we were about to go to Disney World. I was going to the restroom, and then my eyes started getting dizzy. I started just kind of moving around. Then I blinked, and I woke up on the ground. I was in pain in my head, and I was scared. I had no idea what was happening. I was just laying on the floor of the bathroom, and my mom came in and told me that she was taking me to the ER. My mom carried me into the hospital, so it was really scary because I didn't know what happened. I didn't know how it was going to affect me for life, so I was really scared. They told me that I had a fractured skull. Dr. Brooks came in, and he started talking to my parents about things, and then he told me not to worry about anything. He says the nurses here will really help you, and he just got into a conversation just helping me get through it, and it really helped a lot. Dr. Naj came in, and he started telling me that I would not have to get surgery. I would not have to have any surgery on my head or anything like that, but I would have to stay there for a few days. So when I woke up from one of my naps, my grandpa was there, and he told me that in church the pastor prayed for me in front of the whole church, which really made me feel a lot better. The staff at UMC really made me feel safe. They would comfort me when they'd always ask if I needed something to drink, if I needed some medicine. Their number one priority was figuring out how to make me feel better. So they made me feel really safe. Today I am feeling a lot better. I feel like how I felt before the head injury. I do all the stuff I'd regularly do in a day. I want all the nurses and doctors to know that I thank them a lot for how much they've cared for me and treated me at my stay at UMC. I am James Shanklin, and I am the patient experience.
So you can see kind of the approach that we use with videos to try and drive performance. It demonstrates for employees and for medical staff kind of the behaviors we're after, and that's a great story. That kid's going to have a positive impression about UMC and about the medical staff at UMC, and so we want that kind of story every day with every patient.
I am James Shanklin, and this is my story. I woke up a morning, and it was the day we were about to go to Disney World. I was going to the restroom, and then my eyes started getting dizzy. I started just kind of moving around. Then I blinked, and I woke up on the ground. I was in pain in my head, and I was scared. I had no idea what was happening. I was just laying on the floor of the bathroom, and my mom came in and told me that she was taking me to the ER. My mom carried me into the hospital, so it was really scary because I didn't know what happened. I didn't know how it was going to affect me for life, so I was really scared. They told me that I had a fractured skull. Dr. Brooks came in, and he started talking to my parents about things, and then he told me not to worry about anything. He says the nurses here will really help you, and he just got into a conversation just helping me get through it, and it really helped a lot. Dr. Naj came in and he started telling me that I would not have to get surgery. I would not have to have any surgery on my head or anything like that, but I would have to stay there for a few days. So when I woke up from one of my naps, my grandpa was there, and he told me that in church the pastor prayed for me in front of the whole church, which really made me feel a lot better. The staff at UMC really made me feel safe. They would comfort me when they'd always ask if I needed something to drink, if I needed some medicine. Their number one priority was figuring out how to make me feel better. So they made me feel really safe. Today I am feeling a lot better. I feel like how I felt before the head injury. I do all the stuff I had regular doing today. I want all the nurses and doctors to know that I thank them a lot for how much they've cared for me and treated me at my stay at UMC. I am James Shanklin, and I am the patient experience.
So I want to talk a little bit about the recognition that we have received at UMC. You'll see here, this is kind of our bragging slide. So forgive us for bragging just a little bit, but in the middle here, these awards are related to high patient satisfaction, ranked in the top 10 in the nation in outstanding patient satisfaction as an example. And we want to see more of that. We want to continue to drive forward with those kind of scores, because it really means that our patients are leaving here with really good experiences. And there are studies that have shown that excellent patient experience is very much correlated with outstanding patient satisfaction and safety. And so you get excellent experience, excellent safety. That's really kind of the driving point. We are also interested in our physician and provider satisfaction. And you'll see a trend here over the last, I guess, 13 years. We had a dip in 2017, but that's recovered in 2019. And I'll tell you, we take very seriously what the medical staff tells us about how we're doing. And so in 2017, we heard that we needed some more venues, especially for residents, for feedback to the administration at UMC. And so one of the things we did after the 2017 survey is to have luncheons and evening gatherings with food with residents so that we can hear directly everybody, the CEO, all through the administration, attend those and get feedback from the residents about how things are going. One of the things that came out of those feedback sessions was better call rooms, improved and remodeled call rooms, and we're almost through with the renovation of all the call rooms. And that was really a resident feedback point. And so really trying to be responsive. One of the things that we face, and I want you to be aware of, is that we live in a very transparent world. As you practice at UMC and when you graduate and go into private practice, you're going to be under the microscope. So there are lots of different places that share public information about how hospitals perform. You'll see a listing here of those. And there are also similar sites for physician practice as well. I will tell you that we use the Truven, now it's called the IBM Top 100 Hospital Report, because it's a balanced scorecard, and I'll show you our scorecard here in a minute. One of the biggest problems with this transparency is that it's based on administrative data. That means it's based on the billing data, the data that is sent out to payers, both Medicare and private practice and private insurance. That data is then used to judge our quality. one of the problems is that that data was not designed for that purpose. And then the second problem is that it's often very old data once it gets through all of the processes to be shared publicly. And so it'll be several years old. And so you're very much driving with the view of the rear view mirror, or if you're in a boat, looking at your wake and trying to tell where you're going. And so there are some problems with it, but it is what it is. And we do live in a very transparent world. So just know that. Likewise, as I said, it's very easy to find physician quality data as well. And the same problems apply there. Here is the Medicare physician compare site, where you can look at individual physicians' performance. There are other commercial sites out there. ProPublica is one of them that you can Google and search physicians here in Lubbock. And I've looked at the data, and you can tell there are problems with the data set, but that's what the public sees. I mentioned that one of our goals is to become a high reliability organization. And so what is a high reliability organization? Well, it's an organization that operates in a high risk environment while avoiding preventable harm. And the way you do that is through standardized individual team and organizational performance. And so the whole idea of driving out variation and standardizing what we do so that we're doing the very best practice every time for every patient. Other examples of high reliability organizations, aircraft carrier operations, high risk area, and you have to have high performance. Nuclear engineering, another area where that might be true. And healthcare is moving down that path to become a high reliable organization. Why are we doing this? Well, recently there was an article in the BMJ. The key author was Marty McCary, who has actually been a consultant here at UMC in Lubbock. And we realized that medical mistakes are the third leading cause of death in America. And most docs, I think you would agree, that's just not acceptable. We have to do a better job. And one way to do that is by adopting high reliability practices. So I want to share our report card, how we are doing at UMC. This is the Triven Top 100, now the IBM Top 100. And this shows in the major teaching category how we're performing. I mentioned that it's a balanced scorecard, and you'll see there are 10 different data elements here that are listed. The first big bullet is the overall performance, and you'll see in 2019, last year, we were just past the 50th percentile on overall performance, and we were below the mean in terms of rate of improvement. And so if you think about the different quadrants here, there are 4 quadrants, we want to be in the upper right quadrant. So that means that our performance is high and that our rate of improvement is high. And that's important because every hospital is improving all the time. And if you are staying the same in terms of your performance year after year, you're falling behind relative to other hospitals. I want to show you a couple of key bullets that are over here way on the left side. So if you look at the percentile performance, we're really not performing very well. Now, maybe we're close to improving at the median, but not performing very well. The bullet labeled number 2 is overall inpatient mortality. And the bullet number 4 is the 30-day mortality. And this is in a select group of conditions where they measure performance over the 30 days after an index admission for a condition. Those conditions that are included are heart failure, acute myocardial infarction, CABG, pneumonia. They're adding additionally COPD now. So those are the metrics. And so a patient comes in with that diagnosis, and Medicare looks to see if they died within the next 30 days. So lots of opportunity for improvement. How did we do in 2020? Well, we got really great news, the benefits of our performance. If you'll look at the number 2 bullet here, it is the inpatient mortality bullet. the 80th percentile of performance. So how do we do that? Well, if you look here, the rate of improvement is the 2014 to 2018 period. So a lot of years, all the way back to 2014. And it is the 2018 performance period. Well, in that year, we began properly coding some comorbid conditions for diagnoses. And that drove that improvement pretty substantially. Our actual mortality rate stayed about the same, maybe slightly down, but our expected rate of mortality went up, so that when you compare what was expected to what happened, it was much better comparison. We really got into an apples versus apples comparison with other hospitals, versus in 2019, we really weren't taking credit for our work very well. Now, I will tell you that we're still not performing very well on the 30-day mortality. Now, our rate of improvement is now well above the mean, almost 80th percentile, and I expect that this bullet will move over to the right as time goes forward. But we take this balanced scorecard very seriously, and we use it to give us feedback on how to improve. I would say one other point about overall mortality and 30-day mortality. We have a mortality review group of attending physicians that review mortalities and looking for opportunities for improvement. And we have found them, in particular around recognizing a deteriorating patient and trying to get to their aid quickly. Like quality, we are also interested in safety, and this is avoiding events. And so by reducing variability and increasing standardization, developing redundancy so that if an error happens, it doesn't get to the patient, really drives and creates safety. And so one of the big efforts that we have been attempting is to try and reduce preventable harm. And so we have some very specific harms that we measure: CLABSI, central line infections, CAUTI, catheter-associated UTIs, HAPI, hospital-acquired pressure injuries, and falls with injury. And so both for physicians and nurses, we've been trying to standardize practice around these areas to reduce harm events. And we really count it two different ways. We calculate the cost of each harm, and this is our actual cost. The average actual cost is applied for each of these. So we have a known cost for an individual CLABSI, and we just multiply that by the number of events that happened in that year. And you'll see our years 17 through 19, and our cost of harm has gone down over those periods, as well as driving down the number of events in most of these areas. Now, one area that we've really struggled in is falls with injury. I believe that falls really are a marker of functional decline in patients. It's very hard to prevent these, but we are on the path to try and drive them down as well. We've had a 10% reduction in harm over the previous year, and we're attempting to have another 10% reduction this year, and we're well on our way to reducing it as well. You'll hear us talk about lean daily management, and on Thursdays we make rounds, all the administrators on the different units, and we're talking with frontline staff about how to improve this. The nursing staff also has a harm council where they talk about each event. So if they have a CLABSI on their particular unit, those nurses that took care of that patient talk about what they could have done better to reduce that risk. And so we really are creating a culture of safety as well. This is our harm meter for 2020 through April. And you'll see that we are one harm fewer than last year to date. And we had really a couple of months that we hit our goal of 13 or fewer harms in the month, and we were close on the other two. I will tell you that progressing thus far. We don't have the final figures in place yet, but we expect it to be a good month as well. And this is the tool that we use to feed back to staff and medical staff how we're doing on our safety area. So, what can you do to help reduce harm and become a high reliable organization? Well, so there are a few kind of key things that you can do. Number one, speak up. If you have any doubt, if in the back of your mind you're hearing that voice say, I feel uncomfortable about this, speak up. Say something. It's the best way to get ahead of a problem. And I'll share kind of an example of a speak up and a stop the line as well. The second is stop the line. So if something doesn't feel right, stop. Now this comes from manufacturing. Toyota started this. Any person in the plant can stop the car line if something's not safe. And so you have that permission. If anybody gives you a hard time about stopping the line, call me and I'll defend you, because we have to put safety first. And so if you see something, say something. The other thing another principle that is very helpful in high reliability is being mindful. A mindful practice. And so I'll give you the example of driving home. Here it is. It's getting close to the end of the day. I'm going to drive home here in a minute. And there are times when I'm thinking about something at work, and I make the whole drive home, and I don't remember doing it. It's so automatic. I've done it for so long, lived in the same place for almost 20 years, that I do it automatically. And as you get better and better at your craft, at your practice of medicine, many of the things you do become so ingrained that they're automatic. And when you're operating in the automatic mode is when you can have an error. And so the idea is to center yourself and think about what you're doing and be present during that process and don't get into automatic mode. And it's hard to do. If you're on call, you're tired, you've been busy, it may be hard to stay mindful. But commit to that, and it will help you be successful. Another piece is to be accountable. So hold yourself and your peers accountable to safety. Commit to zero preventable harm. And lastly, document very well. I mentioned the improvement we saw in mortality really was around documentation mainly. So take credit for the severity of your patients by carefully documenting all the comorbidities, and don't document diagnoses that are ruled out. So a lot of times we'll put in our documentation, this could be X, Y, or Z. This could be a pneumonia. And then later we decide, no, it's not a pneumonia. But we forget to say that we ruled it out. The last piece about documentation that's important, in particular, I'll give you a surgical example. So if you're a general surgeon and you're in the operating room and you're operating on a patient for bowel obstruction and you're lysing adhesions, there may be incidental lacerations versus accidental lacerations. And so if something is inherent in the procedure, it's not a complication, and you have to document that as such. I want to share a video that really highlights stop the line and speak up as well.
So stop the line in my mind would mean to stop when you see something or you hear about something or you're concerned about something that could potentially adversely affect a patient. My story is about myself and a colleague who had a patient who was going to have a major abdominal operation. My colleague was scheduled to operate on a patient one day, and I knew from seeing the patient a couple days prior that the patient was receiving blood thinner medication. On the day of the surgery, even though I wasn't the surgeon seeing the patient in the hospital or doing the surgery, I just double-checked the chart to make sure that the medication had been stopped, and because of an error, it hadn't. So I canceled the medication order. I called the nursing unit to make sure it So to those who may be hesitant to speak up, I would say just do it. The old Nike slogan, even though it might feel a little bit awkward or feel a little bit uncomfortable, everyone will be happy in the end if something like this, a near miss, is caught.
So I really appreciate Dr. Richmond doing that video for us. We used it a few years ago with our employees to help drive the campaign of speaking up and stopping the line. She's a respected medical staff leader, and she outlines why it's good sense to stop the line and speak up. And so just keep that in your mind as you're going about your rotations.
So stop the line in my mind would mean to stop when you see something or you hear about something or you're concerned about something that could potentially adversely affect a patient. My story is about myself and a colleague who had a patient who was going to have a major abdominal operation. My colleague was scheduled to operate on a patient one day, and I knew from seeing the patient a couple days prior that the patient was receiving blood thinner medication. On the day of the surgery, even though I wasn't the surgeon seeing the patient in the hospital or doing the surgery, I just double-checked the chart to make sure that the medication had been stopped, and because of an error, it hadn't. So I canceled the medication order, I called the nursing unit to make sure it hadn't been given, and of course I told my partner, who was thankful that I had caught the issue. I think probably the biggest fear people have in speaking up is fear of reprisal, that someone who they tell will be upset with them for saying something and maybe slowing down production, holding up the operating room, or holding up a procedure or something like that. And I think that the important thing to remember is, while we're always trying to provide efficient care and try to do things as quickly as possible and provide the best service possible, the key is the best service possible there. And so we don't want to risk some sort of safety concern or an adverse event for the sake of trying to rush things through and get things done. And I think patients realize that. So to those who may be hesitant to speak up, I would say just do it. The old Nike slogan. Even though it might feel a little bit awkward or feel a little bit uncomfortable, everyone will be happy in the end if something like this, a near miss, is caught.
So to kind of conclude the time I have with you, really, you have both the responsibility and the accountability around safety. You guys are in the front lines, and really your practice is essential, and you serve as leaders as well. This slide talks about the blunt end and the sharp end, and really you guys are on both ends. So the blunt end is really the leadership portion, and the sharp end is really the performance portion of taking direct care of patients. So you have both the leadership role and the active role of caring for patients. Your words, your actions, very important. Finding and reporting systematic errors that are in our system that allow us to identify them and fix them, very important. Reinforcing and building that accountability around the behavior for expectation of error prevention is important. Providing a safe environment for those around you to speak up, very important. An example I used when I was a resident in labor and delivery, we had a patient that was laboring, and the nurse who was there asked me if we should have the NICU team at the delivery. And I asked her why she wanted them there, and she, to my mind, couldn't really articulate it. It was just a gut feeling. She probably had easily 5 years or more experience than me in labor and delivery. It was just a gut feeling that she had. And I decided at that time that, I'll decide that, and I don't see an indication for bringing NICU. Of course, the story unfolds and the delivery happens, and then I'm calling NICU because the baby is not as responsive as we'd like. Fortunately, the mom and baby did fine, but I learned a lesson there that I needed to listen to those around me, and further, to make it safe for them to tell me if they saw something they were worried about. And so some of your very best resources are the bedside nurses. When they call you, there is a temptation to put them off, but I would encourage you not to do that and to listen to them. And if you do listen to them, even if it doesn't turn out to be central to the care of that particular patient, you will have messaged to the nurse that it's okay for them to talk to you. And that's the piece about providing a safe environment. Likewise, you're on the Sharpie end. You are in the trenches providing care. And so it's important for you to know and comply with the behavioral expectations for error reduction and prevention. Make those active work habits, those key 5 things that I talked about. If you make that a part of your practice, you're going to be successful in this area. And then also to encourage the practice of error prevention in others, your colleagues. You know, healthcare physicians, being a physician is being part of a profession, and so we have to self-regulate and work with others to help improve. So I encourage you to do that. And lastly, I'd just like to wrap up by saying welcome again. We're very excited to have you. UMC is very proud to be the primary teaching hospital for Texas Tech, and we want you to have a great experience while you're here. So go out there and have a great experience, and please let us know if we can help in any way. Thank you.